In DC vs. Vampires, the world of DC Comics has now become overrun by a vampire onslaught. It was discovered that Hal Jordan had become a vampire. He then killed Barry Allen the Flash, and it brought an investigation from Batman. Batman and Green Arrow teamed up against the Justice League as Batman couldn't trust anyone and the League didn't know what he was doing. Wonder Woman and Green Lantern were the actual vampires in the fight, but not knowing if they had turned Superman, Batman chose to weaken him with kryptonite, and he was captured by the vampires. We then discovered that the king of the vampires was Nightwing, as he murdered Batman. With the first story arc completed, a few spin-off stories have come out, such as DC vs. Vampires Hunters and DC vs. Vampires Killers, which follows the superheroes now in a world overrun by the vampires, with Nightwing as the king. Here are both spin-off stories for you. You have found yourself on that other side of YouTube, where reality meets fiction, where your stories are read back to you in a dramatic fashion, where I get to pretend to be a voice actor. This is Comicstorian. We take the time to make you a comic book expert by filling you in on the big moments happening within the world of comics. We do cut out the B-plots and limit our panel usage to prevent copyright problems. And we allow you to have something to read for yourself and to view in the comic book itself if you choose to add these to your collection. And if you are going to start a collection, I do recommend checking out one of our sponsors, Shortboxed. They have an app which will allow you to get your hands on some CGC graded comic books, and if you click the link down below, you can win one right now. Now let's go into DC vs. Vampires Hunters. With the rise of vampires, Gotham has gained the moniker of the Fallen City, or the seat of power to the vampire kingdom. Humankind is next to be outlawed here, but there is still a small resistance group working to try and evacuate as many humans as possible. But as one group gets ready to leave the city, they notice that their contact has a new friend. The contact leading the group, Martian Manhunter, quickly drops his disguise, telling the men to run, that this one is not with them. The recently turned vampire Damian Wayne sits up in a fire escape, stating that he has been a very busy Martian. All the vampires are looking for you. Martian Manhunter tells the child that if he wants to survive the night, he will tell his masters that he did not find him. Damian flicks a lit match and it surrounds Martian Manhunter and fire. Nah, afraid I can't do that. Later over at Wayne Tower, home of the vampire king Nightwing, Damian walks up to the front desk and Black Mask asks him, "Name?" Damian drops Martian Manhunter's bloody cape. "You know my name. I'm here to collect a bounty. Target is dead." Black Mask laughs. "A member of the Justice League? You're moving up in the world, kid." "Good." And with that, Damian tells Black Mask, "I want to move upstairs and see him." Black Mask informs Damian that they have been over this for months. Nobody sees the king. Now run along before you get a spanking. Damian is quick to quip it back, but as the two are taunting each other, Mr. Terrific steps out asking if there is a problem. Both quickly bow. No. But Mr. Terrific tells Damian to stand and for Black Mask to stay. Mr. Terrific then tells him that if he really wants to speak to him, he knows what needs to be done. Bring in one of the king's enemies. Alive. A bit later, in the abandoned subway station in Mionch Street, Alfred patches up Martian Manhunter, as Martian Manhunter says that he doesn't appreciate the child attacking him like that. Alfred says that he had to make it look real in case anyone was watching. Damian then slides down from above and tells them, "Yeah, and I was bored. And you're welcome, by the way. The vampires think you're dead." But after getting Damian some blood to replenish his strength, Alfred then asks, "Did you have no luck getting to Richard?" And Damian tells him no. "Dick is hiding, same as us. The only way to get him is if I bring in someone that he wants," which Alfred immediately says no to. However, back in Wayne Tower, Damian walks in with a duffel bag telling Black Mask, "Wake up! It's time for me to have that chat with the king." Black Mask looks at the bag. "Who did you get?" And Damian unzips it, revealing Alfred pleading to let him go. Once they go up to the throne room, Nightwing looks out over the ruined city. "I was warned that immortality can make one nostalgic, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I'm trying to remember. What was that dessert Bruce made for us when he took us on that trip to Midway City for his birthday?" Alfred says that he's afraid he doesn't recall a trip to Midway on his birthday. And Nightwing laughs. "Very good. It was a test. And even though I can't eat it anymore, I'll never forget the taste of the chocolate au crumble de feroce. Harder to do your tricks when you can't read a vampire's mind. Isn't it, Jean?" As Martian Manhunter reverts from his Alfred disguise, he says that the kill was his. Nightwing tells Damian, "Don't worry, the Martian will be busy with some of our other friends first." As several turned heroes and villains run out attacking Martian Manhunter, Nightwing begins to start the fight with Damian, kicking him, asking, "What was your play here? Do you want power? Even if you took me out, you're a bit off to be next for the throne." Damian takes out one of his knives, stabbing into his leg, cutting along it to reveal a hidden stake. But as Martian Manhunter fights, the vampires push him over the edge of the balcony, and Nightwing says that it seems that his co-conspirator is down, leaving you all alone once again. Damian leaps down, grabbing Nightwing by the neck, and Nightwing tells him, "You're going to have to answer me this. If it's not power you're after, what is it? Jealousy? Are you angry that I didn't pick you to be by my side?" Damian tells him that he made this mistake when he was human too, always thinking that everyone looks up to him. "But I never did. I always knew that I'd be better than you when I grew up." Nightwing pushes Damian back, asking, "Then why are you here then? Explain why before I kill you." Damian bites Nightwing's arm, throwing an elbow back, telling him, "Because you killed my father!" Nightwing tells him Bruce was a father to me too, but I would have to put him down when he found out that I was the Vampire King. Bruce was many things, but he wasn't complicated. He wasn't the person either of us looked to for compassion. Alfred was. A screen then lights up showing Alfred and the other Resistance members captured. And Nightwing goes on, "And I raided your little underground hideout. Thanks for bringing in so many targets to one place, by the way." Nightwing then takes a seat. "You have a choice. We fight and Alfred and the others die, or you can race and try to save them, Damian. But if you are to leave now, you will never get another chance to finish me." Damian pauses for a moment, but ultimately turns to save Alfred, and Nightwing tells him, "Your compassion is your greatest weakness." Damian fights his way down to the lower levels of the tower, killing every vampire in his path, making it a point to kill Black Mass, telling him, "I never did like you." And as he reaches the room with everyone else, all but Alfred is alive, as fire begins to set her sights on him. Alfred tells him that he shouldn't have come, and Damian charges forward with his stake as fire blasts him with a concentrated beam of fire. Damian slams the stake into her chest, and as fire begins to grow unstable, she begins to combust, releasing more of her energy, and she begins to rip Damian apart. Alfred crawls over. "Can you hear me?" "Her flames. Ultraviolet. Dying. Go." Alfred picks Damian up, tilting his head. "Do it." And as much as Damian tries not to, he eventually bites into Alfred's neck, and he begins to drink. With enough to live, Damian passes out when Nightwing walks in. "Hello." Alfred grabs the stake. "Did you come here to finish him off? If you did, I'm ready for the fight." Nightwing tells him, "I'm not here to kill you. In fact, I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to ask this before we parted ways. Would you like to become one of us? You could have eternal life. It would mean a lot to me, Alfred." Alfred looks at him, glaringly. Respectfully, "Go to hell!" Nightwing tells him, "I thought so, but I figured I could still try. I'm sorry about everything. This isn't what I wanted, Tim, Jason, but Alfred stops him. "Don't you dare speak his name! What do you want from me?" I don't really know, Alfred. Maybe I wanted to make sure that Damian had been taken care of. At this point, you're no longer a threat. You'll never get the chance to face me again, so I just wanted to make sure the kid was okay." "Why?" "Because this is forever. If our kind is going to share this planet, Damian might be the key to it. And he has something that the rest of us vampires lack. Compassion. Or maybe because when I turned, I had his support, while he had no one." Alfred picks up Damian's body and asks, "Are you going to let us walk out of here?" And Nightwing tells him, "I promise." Alfred tells him, "You do." Nightwing turns. And this is goodbye, Alfred. And as Alfred begins to leave with Master Damian in his arms, goodbye, Master Richard. The story is getting heated up, but now it's time to see what was going on with Harley Quinn over in DC vs. Vampires Killers. Here we go. There was a war that shook humanity. Humans were lost, overrun by the vampires. And those fortunate enough to not have been turned, they do anything by any means to keep things that way. Even if it involves promising false hope in the form of protection against vampires. And that's where Harley Quinn and Selina Kyle come in. They are here to put a stop to the Mad Hatter's little underground crime ring because that interferes with her underground crime ring. But while Hatter provides tools to fight against the vampires, Harley provides the same. Except Harley makes it very obvious that she is in it for profit, not for the good of humankind. Though there is one thing that Harley can offer that Hatter cannot: a supposed way out of Gotham. To which Harley makes very clear that she cannot do. And going forward, Hatter now works for her, so he can keep doing what he does and she'll come by in a week for her cut. Hatter apologizes for making her life harder than it needs to be, and he offers a means to relax her by shooting her in the back of the head with a crossbow. However, Harley is ready for that. Before he could even pull the trigger, she had already pulled hers and killed him. Before leaving though, Selina motions that she probably didn't want to kill Mad Hatter. The biters allow them to do what they do because they are beneath their notice. If they start killing people or consolidating power, that might look bad for them. Hatter helped take some of the focus off of them. Before heading home for curfew, Harley decides to get a bite to eat at the underground diner with her crew, which consists of Clayface and Solomon Grundy, who has been oddly quiet since joining. But while eating their, well, what passes for food these days, Harley notices a presence looming within the shadows. She throws her fork, telling them to come out, and from the darkness, Jim Gordon steps out, and Harley shouts that it's Jeff. Jim corrects her, telling her that he needs their help. They obtained a vial of Lex Luthor's blood. There's something in it that can kill the vampires, and they need it to get out of the city. Harley asks why do people keep thinking that, but Jim ignores her, stating that Gotham is lost. Take this and get it to the people who will understand it. Save humanity. While Harley tries to tell him that she can't, the turned Scarecrow steps out, telling Jim to come here. Harley tells him, look, we're all plenty scared here. Why don't you try being a bit, I don't know, nicer? As Midnight and Atom Smasher come out and stand behind Scarecrow, Clayface and Solomon Grundy get up, and Harley separates the two groups, stating that they all just need to relax and take a breath. Well, you know, those of us who can, at least. Suddenly there's a laughter as Mr. Terrific comes out, stating that it would seem that Miss Quinn is the voice of reason and the human community. But why is it that you are out past curfew? The one that we clearly set 5 months ago. Harley tells him that it might have something to do with them blocking out the sun. Kinda makes it hard to tell what day it is. In any case, I'm gonna finish my meal and... But Mr. Terrific smacks her across the station floor, then grabs her, slamming her into the wall, reminding her that the city belongs to the vampires. Those who are not vampires are just food. Now, get out of here and leave Jim behind. And with that, Harley returns home to Arkham Asylum, where Selina notices the cut on her face and asks what happened. Harley tries to play it off, but Selina pushes the subject until Harley talks about her run-in with Mr. Terrific. After a bit of persuasion, Selina convinces Harley to just relax for the night while she goes out and gets the medicine to put on that cut. If she goes out like that, she'll have biters swarming all over her. But later, while Harley is sleeping, Selina sneaks in and finds the vial, asking, what is this? Harley says that Jeff Gordon slipped it into her pocket. And Selina is confused. The race car driver? Harley tells her that she didn't ask what his hobbies were. He just said that it had some kind of magical power that hurts the biters. Said it could save the world. Selina says, maybe, or we turn this over to the vampires. How do riches and power beyond our wildest dreams and the Vampire King being in our debt sound, Harley? Because that sounds a lot better than saving the world. Harley snatches the vial, telling her that it sounds almost as good as saving the world. She'll think about it. So later that night, she sneaks out to the sewers to meet her contact to get the items out of the city. She finds Solomon Grundy there waiting. She asks if the boat is here yet. It might be time for them to get the hell out of Gotham for a bit. But suddenly, Solomon falls over and his head rolls away. Harley realizes very quickly that, oh no, this isn't good, and a voice tells her to run. She turns around to find a talking turd. And she responds to the turd with, oh my god, a talking turd! This city really is magical. Clayface says that it's him, or at least what's left of him. He's gonna have to get out of here. They killed Grundy and took the boat. He already doesn't have much left in him. From the shadows, Mr. Terrific steps out. He's right. But you can still give me what I want, Harley. She yells, fine, she'll give. Let her get it out of her pants. and after grabbing a small vial from the front of her pants, she sprays water into Mr. Terrific's face, and then quickly turns, staking Midnight in the chest. Mr. Terrific wipes off his face. "Is that holy water? I will kill you for that!" And he slams her into the ground, getting ready to bite her. He stops, though, when he realizes there's a stake in his chest, and he begins to disintegrate. Harley gets up, dusting herself off. "You're not the first man to ever threaten me, and now you're all dead, and I'm still here. Guess they should call me Mrs. Unfreaking Believable. Now, where's my little turd-like friend?" With that, Harley returns to Arkham as she tries to quietly sneak back in, but Selina turns on the light asking where has she been. Harley holds up the clay-faced turd and says, "Look who got a makeover!" And Selina backs off asking, "Why did you bring that here?" And Harley looks at it. "Oh, ew, wrong turd." Selina then shows her fangs. "Where is the blood?" Harley says that if she turns and sees a vampire, it's gonna be real sad. Selina lunges, throwing herself, telling her not to play with her. The blood probably isn't even real. And Harley grabs a vase, breaking it over Selina's face. "Maybe not, but I will at least make your night a crappy one." As they begin to battle, Selina grabs Harley and bites into her neck. And after a few moments, steps back, asking, What's wrong with you?" Harley laughs. "I was worried about more biters. I thought they would catch me and take the blood vial away, so I injected it into myself." Selina begins to crumble away, just like Mr. Terrific did, and Harley says, "Wow, I guess it really does work." After setting fire to Arkham Asylum, she grabs her bag and bat and heads out as the last hope of humanity, which she herself already isn't too thrilled about being. And there you have it, DC vs. Vampires, Hunters, and Killers. I hope you guys enjoyed these, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Right now, DC vs. Vampires issue number 7 came out, so you can go continue the storyline. Once issue 8 comes out, we'll cover both of them right here at the channel, as we have been doing. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.